Hello again. All right, so today was an exciting day. I launched a clothing and accessory line, sounds funny to say, via one of those really cool sites that you can like design your stuff and then a company gives you the clothing. So I don't actually sew it, so I'm not that cool. But anyways, I designed the logos myself and everything, and there will be some more stuff coming up soon that I'm working on. But for right now, it's my first line called just hashtag the Daily Hobble because I'm not very creative in that sense, I suppose. But yes, I'm very excited by it, and yeah. Anyways, that was what I was excited to talk about. Um, Other than that, the last couple of days I've been doing a lot of reflecting. I'm trying to get this camera angle right. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reflecting the last couple of days, and I noticed that I get extremely quiet and distant, online and offline, actually. And I seem to procrastinate talking about negative things. I'm a happy person, or I like to portray that anyway, as I'm learning. And I don't necessarily like to talk about the bad things. Um, it's not that I've really been thinking about a lot of negative things per se, just been doing a lot of mulling around in general. Um, yeah, basically I've been doing what's called a little bit of shadow work, and I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but I'm going to read a little bit of an article I have here, just a little touch on it because I think it's a very interesting concept and a very neat thing that I think a lot of people would benefit from practicing, or at least being aware of, because sometimes the first step is just being aware of stuff, right? um yeah, so to kind of tag on to reflection and whatnot, if you're like me, you're gonna be like, Peter Pan, what kind of shadow shit are you talking about? Um, but it's called shadow work, and essentially in psychology, um, shadow is a term used to describe more or less everything that we don't see in ourselves necessarily. I'm trying to paraphrase here. So essentially in psychology, shadow is a term for everything that we don't see in ourselves. Shadow is the dark side of our personality. It's made up of the primitive, the negative emotions, and our impulses like desire, rage, greed, envy, selfishness, desire, and striving for power. Essentially, these emotions and impulses that we deny ourselves, the things we perceive as unacceptable, inferior, or evil, well, I'm moving a little bit there, become part of the shadow. So anything that doesn't fit our conscious attitude towards ourselves, the parts that we deny ourselves and keep pushed away, these become our dark side, quote unquote. So again, I'm gonna like read through this article kind of quickly. And it's just more or less how the shadow is born, so to say. And this is a really good article that I found that summarizes a lot of like the shadow work stuff that I have read. I'll share the link below because I think this is a really cool read. I'm a nerd when it comes to this stuff. Oh, hey, Mittens. Yeah, so okay, here we go. Every young child knows kindness, love, generosity, but he also expresses anger, selfishness, and greed. These emotions are part of our shared humanity, but as we grow up, something happens. Traits associated with being good are accepted, while others associated with being bad are rejected. We all have basic human needs. These needs include physiological needs, safety and security needs, and needs for belonging. These needs are biological and instinctual. As children, when we express certain parts of ourselves, we received negative cues from our environment. Maybe we got angry and threw a tantrum. Our parents reprimanded the outburst and sent us to our room, or perhaps we acted boldly, playfully, spontaneously, or silly in our first grade classroom. Our teacher shamed us for our lack of decorum in front of the class and told us to sit down. I think we've all been there. Whenever it happened, and it might have happened often, it threatened one of our basic needs. Would the disapproval of our parents threaten our safety? Would the disapproval of our teachers and classmates jeopardize our need to belong? We adjusted our behavior to gratify our needs and learned to adapt to the external world. All the unaccepted or discouraged parts of us in the first 20 years of our lives are bundled together, swept out of view, outside our conscious awareness, if you will. As poet Robert Bly says in A Little Book of Human Shadow, which is actually a book I'm going to seek out and read, the child puts all of these unwanted parts into an invisible bag and drags it behind him. This repression of unwanted parts creates what psychologist Carl Jung called the personal shadow. So, like, people talk about like carrying baggage. Essentially, that is baggage, one could say. As Jung writes in Psychology and Alchemy, there is no light without shadow and no psychic wholeness without imperfection. There's obviously a lot more that goes with this, and I could go on for ages, but, I'm working on keeping these relatively short, which so far a little longer than I expected, but still doing okay. So what I was kind of trying to get at is that I'm learning to embrace my shadow. I'm learning to understand the repressed parts. My arm is getting very sore. I'm trying to just like understand the repressed parts of my own soul and why I feel how I do, about the way that I feel, or in the moment why I'm reacting a certain way, those kind of things, right? My boyfriend tells me that I have military grade defense systems, which I don't think he's wrong. It's something that we joke about quite a lot. But I think in a way, it's almost a sad laughter I'm learning as I do more of this shadow work and stuff. And this is really bad lighting. It makes me look really tired. Oh my gosh. Anyways, but see, there's that defense mechanism. Yeah, I think he is very right. I do repress a lot of things. I am a master of denial. And what embracing and understanding the shadow has taught me so far is that remaining unconscious of the shadow can hurt our relationships with our spouses, our family, and our friends. And it can also impact, I'm quoting the website again, our professional relationships as well as our leadership abilities. All right, there's my food for thought for tonight. I know that's kind of like a little bit of a heavy-hitting topic, but I'm a nerd like that, and when I'm reflecting, these are the things that I tend to do. I seek out a lot of psychological books and whatnot, and more knowledge, more power, all that kind of fun stuff, right? Anyways, really excited about my clothing line, like I said. Go check it out if you haven't. I shared a link on my personal account and on the Daily Hobble one. Yeah. Oh, and despite all this mental excitement, I actually have really been struggling physically. My hip has been giving me a lot of grief. I have learned that sitting is horrible. I already knew that, let's be real. I did know that already. But sitting a lot is very bad. And I have a tendency to absorb in the task at hand. And so doing computer work, I tend to just like space the shit out, and it's not the healthiest, but again, things that I'm trying to really work on. I did manage to do my neurologist home care today, a little bit of it at least. I get really frustrated with that, and I usually start to cry a little bit because it's like kind of like similar warm-ups I used to do when I played badminton, the little grapevine stuff, and now my brain can't comprehend when to switch my left foot and my right foot and front and back, and it just kind of fucks with your head a little bit. But yeah, other than that, it's being good and whatnot. Again, really excited about my clothing line. That's pretty cool. It's still kind of weird to say and everything, but yeah. What are your thoughts on shadow work? Like, what do you think about it? Everything that I rambled on about tonight. Again, I know it's pretty deep. Kudos if you made it this far. This was not a short video in the end. Anyways, let's talk about shadow work. Let's be vulnerable together. Let's continue doing all this fun stuff. And yeah, let me know your thoughts below, or you can message me in a personal message too. Most of you know I'll probably be putting this up and probably heading to bed shortly. But, I'm going to try and go for a walk and at least stretch out some of this sitting that I did today. All right, thanks for listening, and until tomorrow.